In my last lecture, I have created a new web app with the help of my Microsoft Azure portal. And now you can see that that same web app is still in a running status. I'm going to my Visual Studio 2013. Inside my Cloud Explorer, I'm just going to hit refresh. The moment I hit refresh, this will try to connect with my server-side cloud. And after that, if I expand my web apps, you can see inside that I have that web app which I have created with the help of my portal. Now, if you see exactly below this, we have an actions panel in which I have open in portal, open in browser kind of links. If I click on that, obviously it's going to open this thing in a portal, or it's going to run that thing in a browser directly. You can even start and stop this application right now. It's already started, so that's why it's showing a stop button here. And then there is a link, download publish profile. This download publish profile is actually that particular link by which you can publish your code to your server-side thing. Right now, I'm just going to click on download publish profile. The moment I click on this, you can see somewhere in my machine there is one publishing profile which is nothing but an XML file with the publishing settings for this particular web app. It's already downloaded inside this. Now once it is downloaded, I'm going to keep this thing here and I'm going back to my Visual Studio. I'm going to click on new project. I'm going to select a web application which will be ASP.NET web application. Whatever name I want to give to this, I can do that. I'm just giving first web and I'm going to click on OK. It's going to ask me that which kind of application you want to create. I'm going to select this will be a simple MVC application, and this MVC application, if you see, I can check mark that I want to host this thing in a cloud or inside a virtual machines also. I'm just going to uncheck this host in the cloud right now, because if I check mark this thing, everything will be configured at the time of creation only. I want you to see this first, that even if this application is created earlier, still you can connect with the cloud. I'm going to select MVC and I'm going to click on OK. Once this process is done, this will be a simple MVC application of Visual Studio. You can see my project is created. This first web is a simple MVC application inside which we have number of folders, and obviously it's an MVC application, so we have some folders with the name models, controllers and views, and inside this we have some C# classes as well as some pages which are in a form of CS/HTML, which are Azure View based pages for this MVC application. This is a traditional application template, so I hope you are familiar with the MVC application template, or otherwise you can even create an empty application if you're not familiar with MVC. Once this project is like this, first I want to run this application in my local browser. If I run this thing in a Google Chrome, you'll get to know that this MVC application is already having a well-designed home page with some dummy content inside that. You can see when I'm running this thing, is running in my local IIS server. That's why it's showing a random port number with the local host. It is running in my browser, and you can see it's having some dummy tabs on the top, which are home, about, and contact. And it's a traditional template of MVC application. The thing is, I want you to visualize that this is a normal ASP.NET based web application which is running somewhere in my local IIS. And now my goal is I want to host this application code to my Azure web app which I have created. I'm going to close this browser. I'm going to stop my Visual Studio application, and then I'm going to right click on my MVC application, and there is an option publish. The moment I click on publish, it's showing me that where I want to publish this and select the publishing profile for that. In this, I'm going to specify that I want to publish this thing as a Microsoft Azure App Service. Or there is a second option which is import or the customize things. There are certain more options for the other virtual machine based Microsoft Azure connection. The thing is, once we see this pop up, it's quite obvious that my Visual Studio is totally connected with Azure, and everywhere we have a support for that. I'm going to select that I'm going to import, and the moment I click on import, it's asking me that import a publishing profile file. I hope you remember we have already downloaded this thing. I prefer this import publishing profile way because it always happens that when we are working in an organization, our machine, which is connected with my production environment, is somewhere else. It is possible that a publishing environment is different than the hosting environment. At that time, your administrator is going to give you the publishing profile, and from the production environment, we just need to import that. I'm going to import my first web app publishing settings profile file, and then I'm going to click on OK. The moment I do this, my Visual Studio will try to get the information from server. You can see it's getting all the information from my server, it's having all the username and password which are automatically generated with that, and even my valid URL is also there. The publishing method for this scenario will be known as web deploy, which will deploy this thing on my cloud with the help of Visual Studio. I'm going to click on validate connection. If you have a proper internet connection, it's going to show you that connection is validated successfully with the green right symbol. And then I'm going to click on publish. The moment I click on publish, depends upon the project size, this will take some time. So I want you to concentrate on this output window, which will show me the full process of the hosting. If we wait for some moments, this will show me the final output. My internet speed is not so good, so maybe this will take some time. And same case for you also. So guys, you can see that in my case, my publishing is successfully done. All of these files are published successfully to this particular domain URL. Now, all I need to do is either I can copy and paste this thing in my browser, or from this Visual Studio, I can click on this open in browser. In my case, my website is already there in my browser. So, it's not there actually. So let's click on this URL. And this time you can see once we click on this first web app 01234.azurewebsites.net, it's showing me my MVC application. And this is having all of these files of my ASP.NET MVC project template. Obviously, it's not having anything which is coded by ourselves. If you want to save your time in deployment, you can take the empty application and you can just quickly host that thing. I hope this is something which is running on cloud now, and this particular video is pretty much clear. Before I move forward, I just want you to see one section. If I click on my application and if I go inside this web app, you can see here also we have one link which is for the download the published profile. If I click on this, this will also do the same kind of thing which was done by my Visual Studio in my case. So if your server-side administrator is not having Visual Studio, he can download the publishing profile from this link and he can give it to developer. And then developer can deploy this thing to my Azure with the help of that particular publishing profile file. I hope it's pretty much clear. Thank you.